Okay, so in the last lecture, we talked about the slope of a straight line. Okay, and I told you all that if we have a position time graph, then the slope will give you either speed or velocity of an object, right? And if we have a velocity time graph, then the slope of that will give you acceleration of an object. But now I want to mention a very important point, that if the slope is given, for example, the velocity time graph is like this, okay? On the y-axis, this is velocity in meter per second, and on x-axis, this is time. Here, the slope is constant, okay? Right? And that is given by, the slope of this will be given by delta V over delta T, V2 minus V1 over T2 minus T1. Right? Now, so it is a constant quantity. So it means that for this object is moving with constant acceleration. And this is what? This is acceleration, okay? Take average acceleration. A is constant. But now, if the velocity time graph of an object is like this, it is not constant. Okay, it is changing with time. Then how do we find the slope? If there is a graph, V is a function of time, right? And that is not a straight line, then the slope is not constant, right? Then how do we find the slope of such a graph? In order to find the slope of such a graph, we find the tangent to that curve, and that tangent will be different at different points, right? So for example, if I want to draw a tangent here, this is the tangent, okay? All of you might have learned tangent in maths. For example, if I have a circle, right? This is the radius of the circle and this is the tangent to the circle, okay? So this is radius and this is tangent to the circle. So if we have a graph like this, then the slope of the graph is given by the tangent at that point, and this is what gives the idea of a derivative, okay? I'm just giving you an idea. We will talk about this in much more detail later on, okay? So here, this will keep on changing. The slope is different at different points, right? Now, I'm going to tell you one more very important point. For example, okay, so I hope this is clear, okay? This is the tangent at this point, and this is a tangent at this point. So this is different. So here the slope is less, at this point the slope is increased. So acceleration of an object is increasing, right? So the object is accelerating and the acceleration is not constant, it is changing. Okay, now, for example, if we take speed time graph, okay, and the graph is like this, the speed of an object is, so what is the meaning of this? T, for example, this is time here is 10 seconds, okay? This is origin. This is the kind of graph you have. So from this graph, what does it tell you about the motion of an object? The object is moving with a constant speed of 10 meter per second as the time is changing, okay? For example, I'm driving a car and I'm moving, or I'm driving the car at a constant speed of 10 meter per second, okay? Now, if somebody asks me, what is the acceleration of this object? Because the object is moving in a straight line, so speed and distance, speed and velocity, they both are same, right? So I can say that the slope of this graph is 0, so the object is moving with a constant velocity, right? Acceleration is 0. But if I want to ask a different question, I want to ask that how much distance the object has covered in 10 seconds. Question is, how much distance an object has covered in 10 seconds. So this question is simple. The object is moving with a constant speed of 10 meter per second, and if I ask you how much distance the object has covered in 10 seconds, what will be your answer? Speed into time, right? Because the object is moving with constant speed, 100 meters, right? Now how do we see that from the graph? So from the graph you can see that how will you get 100? This is a rectangle by calculating the area under the curve. Okay, so this is speed and this is time. Speed into time. What is this? The area of this rectangle, length into breadth, right? So area under the speed time graph gives the distance covered by an object. But now you may ask a question that this object was moving with a constant speed. So, okay. But now if an object is not moving with a constant speed, again you will learn that we have to bring on the idea of calculus. Okay. So if, for example, the object is moving like this, the speed of an object is given like this, and this is time, then what do we do? So this is the area total covered by an object, area under the curve in 10 seconds, right? But here the speed is not constant. So what we will do? We will divide this area into very thin strips in which we can take constant speed, and then for certain speed, that will be the overestimating the area and underestimating the area. But you will see that when you sum all the areas, then again you will get total distance covered by an object. Okay, this is the idea under what you will learn under integration. Okay, so area under the curve, from here the idea of integration, that is the summing over the whole journey, comes into picture. Okay, so if an object is moving with, I am not going again into detail into this, we'll again come to this. So here, if an object is moving with non-uniform speed also, then also the area under the curve will give you the distance covered by an object. Okay. Similarly, so this is an important lesson to be learned. Now, for example, instead of speed time graph, I have velocity time graph. Then what do you calculate? Velocity time graph. Okay, so you have velocity here and this is time, and again the object is moving with a constant velocity, and in 10 seconds he has again it is moving with this much velocity, right? Now area under this curve, area under velocity time graph gives the displacement of an object, of an object. Okay, velocity into time. Velocity is defined as rate of change of displacement. So velocity into time will give you the displacement. Another important point, from this graph you will only get the value of displacement of the object. You will not get the value of the initial and final position of an object. That information is lost. Okay, so again that this thing will again come when you will learn definite and indefinite integrals. Okay, so here you will see that displacement of an object is 100 meter. Now it is possible that object started at position at x is equal to 100 and moved x is equal to 200. Again the displacement is 100 meters. Instead of that, the object might have started at 200 meter and ended up at 300 meter. Then also the displacement would be 100 meter. So from the area under the curve of the velocity time curve, you will get the idea of displacement, but you will not get the complete information of the initial and the final position of an object. Okay, so this is a very important lesson to be learned, that information about the initial and final position of an object is lost. Okay, so this is what we get from this graph. But now, for example, if instead I started from here and here the velocity is positive, right? It means the object is moving towards the positive x direction. Okay, for example, if I have chosen this direction to be positive, now for example the object is moving with 10 meter per second in the positive direction, and then the object takes a turn. Okay, and it moved with the same velocity but for 5 seconds, right? Now if from the graph you have to tell how much is the distance and displacement covered by an object, how will you tell? So for example, this is first example 1, example 2. Let me take, this is velocity time graph, okay, and the object is moving with 10 meter per second in the positive direction, and then 0, 10 seconds, and then 5 seconds till 5 seconds, next maybe 15 seconds. Okay, so time is moving like this. Now if somebody asks you how much is the total distance and displacement covered by an object, then which one is the area under the curve? Area under the curve will give you displacement, but first you try to think intuitively. When the object was moving in a positive direction and then it turned its position at where the object had, this is the turning point, right? Because after that the value of velocity has become negative. The negative velocity means the object has changed direction. Okay, now the object has moved this much, so let me, this is also 10 meter per second. Okay, it is not up to the scale, but let us assume that with the same velocity it was moving in the opposite direction. Now the total distance covered by an object, we have to add the amount of distance it has covered, and then it has turned back, and then how much distance. But the displacement depends upon the initial and the final position of an object, so that will be the difference, so that value will be less. So how do we calculate that from the graph? Now this area under the curve, so in the positive direction how much distance object has covered? 100 meter, 10 into 10, right? But now in the opposite direction how much object has covered? 10 into 5, this is 5, right? 10, 15, 5, 50 meter. So what will be the total distance covered by an object? Okay, I'll just make it a little smaller. Now the distance covered by an object will be total area. Okay, from the velocity time graph also you can find the distance, but one has to think nicely. The velocity into time is here, because the object was moving in one direction, does not matter. Distance and displacement will be the same, but here 100 meter plus 50 meter will be the total distance covered by an object. But if I ask you how much is the displacement covered by an object, the object moved 100 meter in the positive, that is was the displacement, but it moved back, so that will be minus, because displacement is a vector quantity, right? So minus 50 meter, 50 meter. This is the displacement. So when we calculate area under the curve, in order to calculate the displacement, we take the area with sign. Okay, so that will be the positive area and this will be the negative area, right? Because the object has moved in the opposite direction when the velocity is negative. So one has to be very careful. Distance will be the total distance covered by an object, whereas displacement will be only 50 meter. Okay, I hope this point is clear to all of you. Now, if instead of velocity time graph, we have acceleration time graph, then what do you get from the area under the curve? Think. So now, from acceleration time graph, this is acceleration of an object. Okay, for example, a car is moving with 10 meter per second square for 10 seconds. This is time, okay, in seconds. The acceleration of the car is 10 meter per second square. It means rate of change of velocity per second is 10 meter per second. Okay, so now area under this curve will give you what? Change in velocity, because acceleration is, average acceleration is rate of change of velocity. So acceleration is equal to delta V over delta T. So acceleration into time, right? That will give you change in velocity. So this is equal to change in velocity. Okay, we cannot say velocity because that is completely wrong. So area under the curve, under the acceleration time graph, gives change in velocity. Okay, it means that from this graph the change in velocity is 10 meter per second square into 10 second, you will get unit 100 meter per second. What's the meaning of this? Again, we do not know the initial and final velocity of the object. If I tell you that the object started from rest, then you can tell that the final velocity of an object was 100 meter, not 100, 10 meter per second, right? Because the change in velocity of 100 meter per second was in 10 seconds, right? But you cannot tell, because for example acceleration is v2 minus v1 over delta t. Interval, it was 10 meter per second square into 10 seconds. This is equal to v2 minus v1. If initial velocity of the car was 0, it means the car started at rest. Then v2 is 100 meter per second. v2 if v1 is 0, right? The final velocity I can say. Otherwise, this will give you only change in velocity, right? Information of the initial and the final velocity again will be lost from the, if you calculate the area under the acceleration time graph. Okay, so I hope this is clear to you. This is a very important lesson, that from the graph, just by looking at the graph, we can calculate or we can analyze so many things about the motion of an object. Okay, so now let us do one example. If you have understood till here, if I give you plot a velocity time graph question, okay, so you all should pause the video and try to do it yourself. Velocity time graph for a ball dropped from height h till the time just before it hits the ground. Okay, so we will talk more about the vertical motion, okay, after some time. But with some intuition, we know that if I take a ball in my hand, how much is its velocity? 0. I am holding the ball. If I leave it, what you have observed intuitively? What will happen? The velocity of the ball increases and it goes down, right? Because the earth is pulling it, right? So acceleration due to gravity is there in the downward direction, right? Velocity is also in the downward direction. Both initial velocity of the ball and the acceleration due to gravity, they both are having the same sign, right? They both are in the same direction. So the velocity, the speed of the ball will increase, right? Now you have to first plot and then you have to calculate the total distance. For example, if I ask you total distance and displacement, but for that I need to give you some more data, right? Because then only you'll be able to calculate the velocity of an object just before hitting the ground. But for example, let us see just by plotting the graph what all we can understand. Okay, so also if I ask you that comment on the acceleration due to gravity. Okay, from the graph. Okay, so now we will see that if you plot the velocity of an object with time, the velocity is 0 when I am holding in the hand and then it increases linearly. Okay, and from here this will be the graph for an object, so its velocity will be maximum just before hitting the ground. Okay, I am ignoring air resistance. Also ignore air resistance. Okay, now what about the slope of an object? The slope from this graph is constant, right? It means that acceleration due to gravity is constant, and we will see that on the surface of the earth the acceleration due to gravity is constant, which we take to be 9.8 meter per second square, right? So from this graph the slope is constant, which tells you if you would known the velocity at this, okay, this we will learn later how to calculate this velocity. For that you need from what height you have dropped the ball. Okay, we'll do those such kind of questions. Slope is constant, so acceleration A is constant. Okay, so this much we can infer, that's all. In order to calculate the exact value of the acceleration due to gravity, how much is the acceleration, that for that you need some more data. Okay, but from here this much is clear. Okay, okay, let us do one more question. For example, if I take a ball and I throw the ball towards the wall. Okay, so a ball is thrown towards the wall at a constant velocity of 10 meter per second. Okay, it hits the wall and bounces back with the same velocity. Okay, and you catch the ball. No velocity change is there, so I am considering it to be a perfectly elastic position. Okay, no energy is lost at the wall. Bounces back with the same velocity of 10 meter per second. Acha, one more thing, in 10 seconds. Okay, and reaches your hand in 10 seconds. Okay, and here also a ball is thrown, it hits the wall in 10 seconds. Okay, plot this velocity time graph, plot the velocity time graph and calculate total distance and displacement of the ball. So what is the scenario? Here there is a ball, okay, I have thrown the ball towards a wall. This is a wall. V1 is 10 meter per second and it has taken time 10 seconds to reach the ball. After hitting the wall, it has come back with the same speed and same time. There is no loss. You have to calculate the total distance and displacement of the ball. The ball has reached again at the same position. Okay? Now, intuitively, you have to calculate that from the graph. Now, this that it is obvious to you that the distance traveled you have to add and the displacement will be what? You are catching the ball again. So the displacement of the ball is 0. Now let us see that whether you get the same information from the graph or not. How do you plot the graph? Okay. The ball is moving with a constant velocity, right? So this y-axis I am plotting time in seconds. Here velocity, meter per second. Okay. The ball was moving at a constant velocity of 10 meter per second. Okay. For how much time? 10 seconds. This is where the ball hits the wall, right? Now when the ball hits the wall and bounces back. How do I plot that graph? Again the ball is moving with a constant velocity, but the direction has been reverted, right? Now the ball, because velocity is a vector quantity, it has both magnitude and direction. After hitting the ball, it has reversed its direction. So how do I plot? This will jump from here. Okay? And again the ball will move for 10 seconds here. So what kind of graph you will get? Okay? No need to join these lines. So this is the area. You will always take the area between the graph and the x-axis. That is what we call as area under the curve. That curve. Okay? So here, first of all, the graph is symmetric, right? Between the velocity time. Why? Because the area under the velocity time graph will give you displacement, and because the ball from my hand, it went up to the wall and it hits and come back to my hand. So the amount of distance covered while going and coming back should be same. So the graph has to be symmetric. Now how much is this? 100 meters. And how much is this? 100 meters. Right? So from this it is obvious, you can calculate that the distance covered by an object is 200 meters, whereas the displacement 0 meters, right? Because this is negative, it is in the opposite direction. So for displacement calculation, we have to take area with negative sign. So this 100 minus 100, so that will give you 0 displacement. Okay? If you have understood this much, then very nice. Then you will be able to do many problems of motion in one dimension. Okay? So maybe we'll stop here. We'll do some more graph analysis examples and then we can continue with the equations. Okay? The kinematic equations which you require to calculate the values of velocities and acceleration when the object is moving in one dimension. Okay? Okay. See you then.